for joining us on African Free Press Television. I am Chika Anyanwu with the news updates. Elder statesman Dr. Tunji Brightwhite has cautioned that President Muhammadu Buhari should not take the issue of agitation for the sovereign state of Biafra lightly, as the country will be in jeopardy. Dr. Brightwhite said politically, when there is no justice, Nigerians cannot get peace, since the issue of secession has become a matter of social justice. He said that social injustice, according to the Igbo activist, is fueling the agitation for secession. He also added that Nigeria at the moment was seriously suffering from widespread corruption, especially in high places where people do not trust national institutions like the judiciary and the electoral process, the rising impunity and the imbalance in Nigeria's federal system. A former secretary to the federal government, Chief Olufalaye, has said that the education of the Fulani herdsmen without a policy that will compel them to raise their cattle in ranches permanently is pointless. Chief Falaye said although education was very important, President Muhammadu Buhari must initiate a policy that will stop the Fulani herdsmen from roaming around. He further stated that Fulani herdsmen can grow their businesses by acquiring industrial ranches where they can confine and rear their cattle. The federal government has blamed high population growth for the country's inability to meet the energy needs of its citizens and business outfits. Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Babachi Lawal, who laid the blame in a speech of the inauguration of the Nigeria Energy Calculator developed by the Energy Council of Nigeria, said effective planning was strategic to sustainable energy development in the country. Mr. Lawal, who was represented at the event by the Director of Public Relations, SGF Office, Ijoma Onogu, said concerted efforts must be made by all stakeholders to address the nation's difficult energy crisis. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has adjourned till November 2nd the trial of the immediate past National Security Advisor, retired Colonel Sabo Dasuki, who was charged with alleged money laundering and illegal possession of firearms. Justice Adeniyi Ademola had adjourned the trial in his ruling on an application by the prosecution to present its witnesses who will be covered and to use their code names to address them during the proceedings. The prosecution list of witnesses shows that the proposed witnesses were mainly operatives of the Department of State Services who were involved in the search of the former security advisor's house in Abuja and Sokoto. Boko Haram has not been defeated because the undercover and the physical security agencies are working in parallel line. This is the view of the Emir of Kano, Muhammadu Sanusi II. The Emir criticized the security agencies for engaging in what he termed superiority fight rather than cooperating among themselves. Speaking at the second edition of the Nigerian Security Exhibition and Conference, Emir Sanusi also condemned the deplorable conditions at the internally displaced people's camp, suggesting that it may force some of the refugees to join Boko Haram. Director for Public Prosecution in the Federal Ministry of Justice, Mr. Mohammed Diri, has denied signing any letter directing the Economy and Financial Crimes Commission to investigate its chairman, Mr. Ibrahim Lamode. Mr. Diri told newsmen in Abuja that he did not sign such letter on behalf of the Ministry of Justice or whether the ministry was interested in investigating the allegation. Mr. Diri replied not being competent enough to comment on that. However, spokesman for the ministry, Mr. Charles Nwogudo, acknowledged that the ministry received a petition against Lamode and other top EFCC officials on diversion of proceeds of corruption. Mr. Wodo said the ministry forwarded the petition written by one Judge Ubo to the EFCC boss for its response as required by the rules of public service and constitutional rights to fair hearing. The Central African Republic will hold presidential and parliamentary election on December 13, as announced by its Electoral Commission. The ongoing election has received efforts to restore democracy in the country, which has been fighting a civil war since 2013. Central African Republic was plunged into turmoil in 2013, where Muslim rebels seized power in the majority Christian country. A senior health official in Guinea has announced the discovery of 3 new Ebola cases in the western district of Forcaraya. Spokesman for the National Center for the Fight Against Ebola, Fode Tarsila, said the 3 were infected from the family of a woman who died of Ebola and whose body was handled without appropriate protection. The epidemic began when a 2-year-old boy fell in a remote Guinea village on December 26, 2013, and now risks dragging into a third year and into 2016. It has killed around 11,300 people out of around 28,500 known cases in Guinea and neighboring Liberia and Sierra Leone, according to World Health Organization figures. Mexican authorities have said that they have arrested a top lieutenant of a drug cartel leader and international fugitive Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. The Juarez district attorney said Fernando Ramirez Dominguez, who also goes by the name Jose Ramirez Dominguez, was accused to have shot dead 5 men this year. Guzman, who is said to be hit boss, escaped from federal prison through a tunnel in January 11 this year. To FIFA President Sepp Blatter, FIFA leaders have struck a secret agreement to award the 2022 World Cup to the United States before the organization even voted. But French President Nicolas Sarkozy and European soccer leader intervened to blow up the deal. The disclosure has worsened the current corruption scandal in FIFA. The right to host the 2022 World Cup went to the tiny Emirate of Qatar in the December 2010 vote, a decision that mystified observers at the time and is at the center of many of the corruption allegations, including a 47-count U.S. indictment against 14 top FIFA and soccer marketing officials. And that's the news at dusk on African Free Press Television. For more, do visit www.africanfreepress.com. Follow at African Free Press on Twitter with a single S, and like African Free Press on Facebook. I am Chika Anyanwu. Good evening.